Deputy Adams, thank you.
Just for William Gugarja has a horse and Sakadala aware Ira Sosharak the New August Gunyeri and Tal Lipsha a leg was Chapping Wedge and Slana Wilwidge August a Wilship Shig Dollar Io Shamak. Taoiseach, this state's policies towards women and children are currently being scrutinised by the UN Committee on Human Rights in Geneva. And committee members have been made aware of the results of a toxic political culture which existed in this state since its foundation and in which women and children were denied their rights. And it's evident in the sorry saga of scandal, which includes the Magdalene Landry's Bethany Home, the mother and baby homes, the illegal trafficking of children, child abuse in church and state institutions, and the unequal status of women in the Constitution. And this committee will hear other examples of dereliction of duty by this state towards its citizens, including members of the travelling community and prisoners. But one particular report, a 50-page report by victims of symphysiotomy, will show how the state failed to protect more than 1,500 women who endured this barbaric practice and who still suffer physically and psychologically from its consequences decades later. Your government undertook to right this wrong, Taoiseach. So why then did you ignore the call from survivors for the statute of limitations to be lifted to allow them the choice of going to court? Why did you produce a redress scheme which denies acknowledgement of the grievous wrong done to these women? Why provide only a minimalist financial package? And why deny the women an independent medical board and the right to advocacy? Taoiseach, the UN Committee has asked why this state refuses. They asked just this yesterday and today. Why does this state refuse to accept responsibility for the clear abuse of the rights of Irish women over decades? Could I put that question to you, Taoiseach? Why does the state deny or refuse to accept responsibility for the clear abuse of these women over decades?
Thank you.
Well, Deputy, your question is a serious question. Why did the state deny its responsibility in respect of Magdalene's? Why did the state deny its responsibility in respect of Bethany? Why did the state deny its responsibility in respect of mother and baby homes? Why did the state not do something about symphysiotomy before this? These are a whole list of sensitive, personal, serious issues that have been left lying around in this country for as far back as 60 or 70 years. They're being dealt with now. I'm not quite sure whether you're proposing that in respect of those women who underwent symphysiotomy, whether they should now be subjected to court appearances in a very aggressive confrontational manner, where the state have looked at this and, following the reports that were published, to put forward a suggestion and a proposition for being able to deal with the challenges and the difficulties, personal and serious, that these women had to go through and went through during these symphysiotomy interventions. So it's a case, Deputy Adams, of a whole range of serious social and personal issues that were left lying around for years that are now being dealt with by the state. And obviously it's a matter for the group and individuals which course they wish to pursue here. I think nobody wants to see long drawn out, controversial, antagonistic or aggressive court hearings about something like this. Here is an opportunity, no more than the avoidance of all those difficulties in court sessions with the Magdalene women, of arriving at a conclusion, a recognition of the situation, and a recompense of some scale for those women who were subjected to what I've described before as a barbaric treatment. So Minister for Justice has been in Geneva at the UN Human Rights Council, of which Ireland is a member, outlining for the Council the actions that have been taken by government here in dealing with issues that have been swept under the carpet and left lying there for decades.
Well, thank you, Taoiseach, but my question is in the present tense, not the past tense. Why did you ignore the call from survivors for the statute of limitations to be lifted? You can't patronise these women and say you don't want to put them through a long court procedure if that's what they want to do? Why provide only a minimalist financial package? Why, and this is the question which was just asked by the chairman or the chairperson of the UN Human Rights Committee, that there may be a question over the legality of the state's plan for redress. And the UN Human Rights Committee rapporteur has asked whether this scheme is compatible with the state's obligations under international human rights treaties. There's also the huge issue that these symphysiotomy operations were involuntary. And this question is being asked also. There's a lack of judicial review.
Thank you.
There's an absence of individual assessment, and the fact that those who apply for the redress scheme will have to give up their legal rights. So you're saying you can have this redress scheme, but you have to give up your legal rights. And the most important thing, I think, is while some women, and this is their entitlement, may go for the redress scheme, the vast majority have said no. We don't want this. We want acknowledgement of our ill treatment. We want the proper compensation commensurate with the trauma that we have suffered. So these are issues that aren't being raised just by me, although we have raised with other Teachtaí Dála here these issues for some time. So isn't it time, Taoiseach, for the government to reflect, to rethink your approach on this issue? And isn't it time to meet with the survivors to put together, and I know you've met, or at least the Health Minister met with them before, a comprehensive approach which meets the needs of all the victims of symphysiotomy?
Please,
Thank you, Deputy Adams. The decision of the government was based on formal legal advice in respect of the statute limitations being addressed. As I said, there is a €34 million fund put together here in regard to the women who went through symphysiotomy. And it is a choice that they are entitled to make, either to avail of the redress scheme, or if they choose to take a court direction, a court case. Obviously, Deputy Adams, if a woman decides to choose the redress path and is not happy with the outcome, she has the right and the opportunity to appeal that if she thinks that's appropriate. So there is a fund here, an ex gratia scheme, to be administered by the State Claims Agency of 34 million as a recognition of the difficulties and challenges and personal trauma that these women went through. They have the right to take the case to court if they wish. They have the right to go through the redress scheme if they wish. And if they're not happy with the outcome of that, they have every right to have it appealed. And in respect of the statute of limitations, that was on the basis of formal legal advice. I might add that there are many of these cases, Deputy Adams, where there are no notes available at all about what happened. They don't know who the doctor was who might have performed that intervention, and they could wait for a very long period of 5 to 10 years before they might get through to a court decision.